Hi, my name is Japanjot Kaur and today we are representing Team 3 and Chapter 12, which is Improving Air Quality, Economic Analysis of the Stationary Source Control. And my team includes Felipe, me, myself, Japanjot Kaur, Shikhar, Anmol, Harpreet, and Uzair. So, since we all know that national air quality policy is a universal pollutants, and specifically in this subject, we are going to be focusing on the stationary sources. Since we all know that air pollution is caused by two main sources, which is mobile and stationary, but since I mentioned before, we're gonna be focusing on the stationary sources of air pollutants. Also, we know that there are a lot of rules and regulations that we have to control the air pollutants that causes the pollution. But it all depends upon the type of source we have, that the implementation and the sources, whatever, and the policies, whatever is being made by the government, like what kind of policy has to be used where, because every different source has different kind of pollution that is emitted. So there are a lot of policies that's being used, like I said, and there's this policy that was used by US, which is benefit cost analysis. So what is benefit cost analysis? It means that when you have different alternatives of it's a systematic approach in which you have different alternatives and then you see the strengths and weakness of each of the source and then you choose the best policy. So US basically, the US policy used the benefit cost analysis to investigate on the following approaches that I'm going to explain you. The first one of which is Uniform Technology, NSPS, which is New Source Performance Standard. So New Source Performance Standard was basically, it was used to improve the air quality using the command and control approach. Now again, what is command and control approach? It means that the approach in which is, it's kind of an activity or like any, any of the industry or anything which uses any kind of activity by legislation to tell what is permitted and what is illegal. That is basically command and control approach. So an SPS was a policy which used command and control approach, and this has two following characteristics, which is that they are implemented uniformly in all the firms, and second, it was technology based, like there was no flexibility that was given to the firms to choose how to use the the national emission on this. The second point is economics of market-based trading programs. So the national policies also use the market-based approach basically to control the stationary items, and the implementation of emission trading programs are in 3 points. The number one of which is analysis of early emission trading program. Number 2 is analysis of SO2 alloys trading plans. Number 3 is analysis of NOx trading plan. And these 3 parts are going to be explained to you thoroughly by my team members. And that's where my part ends, and the next one is going to be introduced by my team member Felipe. Thank you.
Hi all, I will be explaining about the Uniform Technology-based NSPS. Basically, the government of the United States, through their Environmental Protective Agency, EPA, created the NSPS, which is the New Source Performance Standard, which is a policy to control the pollution and basically the air quality. And we're going to see that this kind of approach, there are some potential problems related to it, as it is basically a command and control approach. So when we have a command and control, it's basically some agencies or the government stating regulations for the firms in terms of abatement and in terms of reducing the toxic pollution in their plants, in their factories. And also this is an approach which is technology based, which means that the government is asking for the firms to use a determined or a specified technology to help reduce the abatement of toxic emissions. So basically we can think about 4 characteristics of this whole model. The first one it is not flexible, so the companies can choose which way they are going to do the reduction on emission. The government has a direct control over the pollution, so it's easier for the government to apply and to control, as they are just stating some guidelines, and all the companies have to do whatever they need to do to regulate between that. And it kind of helps to avoid the market bias, so there's not one region which is preferred by some firms. So, and the fourth characteristic is because firms are prevented to choose from cheaper methods of reducing the emission pollution. So now I will explain a graph of why this policy is cost ineffective. When we think about two different firms, they have two different marginal abatement costs, which is the cost to reduce 1 unit of pollution. So we can think about the stationary source A's abatement, so the firm A would be a curve like this, and the firm B would be a curve like this. The cost-effective solution in this case is just here, which we're going to call A0. If governments, or in this case of this policy of NSPS, they ask for this uniformity in terms of standards between different firms, they will equally abate, the two firms will equally abate to another level, let's say this level here, A1. So before that, we had this shaded area here as the total abatement cost. And now we have a different set, because the triangle between D, E, F, it's now part of the cost as well. So this can bring more costs for the society and costs for the firms as well.
Hi, my name is Azhar, and I'll be explaining the analysis of early emission trading programs. So first I'll have to tell you about a non-attainment area, since it refers to that. What is a non-attainment area? A non-attainment area refers to an area which has air quality which is worse than that of the national ambient air quality, like it doesn't meet the quality of the national ambient air quality standards as mentioned in the Clean Air Act's amendment of 1970. Since this is solely based in the United States, this was when that was set up, and the early trading program has to take place so that we can control pollution from stationary sources from the very beginning. So let me give you an example. So over here I have firm A. So firm A, once it's set up inside a non-attainment area, so it has various kinds of pollutants, on like a daily basis. So what it does is it sets up another firm itself called firm B. So firm A has offsetting emissions. What is an offsetting emission? An offsetting emission refers to a reduction in various gases that are being discharged from this, and it basically, what's being polluted here is made up and compensated because the pollution is less over here. So for example, if there is around 70% of pollution over here, since firm A also owns firm B, the pollution here is 30%. So through this, the marginal abatement cost is equal, making it profitable for both of these, and the pollution will be controlled by both of them, especially firm A, as mentioned over here. Another aspect is that all kinds of, when this is taking place, it can be internally, means within the same plant, that's firm A, B, or it can take place from firm A to a third party, which is called firm C. That's about it. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Shikhar Anand, and I'll be talking about the analysis of SO2 trading plans. So the SO2 trading plans is regulated by the CSAPR, which is Cross-Strait Air Pollution Rule, and due to which the polluters try to pollute SO2 to the minimum level, and the abatement units which they have left, they try to trade in for lucrative returns. So this is how a market is created of suppliers and demanders. So the suppliers, as you can see, are the firms which have extra units of abatement left, and the demanders are the firms which have which cannot meet the abatement levels and they need more units of abatement. So I'll be drawing a graph which will show the abatement level till which a firm would abate. It will include the MEC, which is marginal abatement cost. Marginal abatement cost refers to the cost of reducing one more unit of pollution. So this is the MEC curve. And this is the market price for 1 unit of abatement, of allowance. Market price of 1 unit of allowance. So this will be the quantity and this will be the price. This is the quantity which the firms try to abate, and if till the time they only try to abate till the time their MEC, their respective MECs is below this price, because till this time they have an incentive to abate, and if this goes above, they need more units, they need to buy more units of allowances. So that is how the market operates. Other than these firms, there are other buyers such as environmentalists and brokers. So the environmentalists, they try to buy these extra units from these firms in order to raise the standard, the allowance standards, so that there is less pollution in the environment. And the brokers, they just buy these units in order to get lucrative returns on these units. Acid rain program, which happened in 2011, we can see in that 125,000 units of allowances were offered, which were sold to the highest bidders, and around 550,000 was the demand for the allowances. So we can see the difference. And other than this, the effects of CSAPR remain to be seen. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Anmol and I'll speak about the analysis of the NOx. The NOx NBP trading program was introduced in the US to control the NOx emissions that were released from the different polluting sources. It was formulated under a cap and trade plan, which offered the allowances to the various consumers and the polluters, which created a market for the buyers and sellers as well for the allowances offered. The allowances were offered at a lower prices that created the excess of those allowances, which were further sold to the other firms that were not able to meet the emission requirements. The trading of these allowances continues till the buyer of these allowances get a price that's above an MSC level and the seller pays a price that's below his MSC level. MSC is basically the marginal abatement cost, and that's the cost of reducing each unit of pollution. So it's set at a certain level that is different for the buyer and the seller. This is how this market operates. Furthermore, the program was overall a success that can be validated through the following observations or the studies that I have done. Firstly, all the states that were affected by the NOx participated in the program, and furthermore, all the NOx emissions that were released from the acid rain were declined by 4.1 million. In 2009, the sharpest decline or the sharpest downward trend was shown in the NOx emissions that were released. Since the program started from the 2005, it was the biggest downward trend that was shown. However, the overall trend shows that there was lower control cost on this program, as the allowances prices are incompetent, that are changed due to the energy prices and the regulations imposed by the government. So this program can be further made or better by controlling the energy prices and setting the regulations that are in favor of the NBP trading program. Thank you.
Hi, this is Harpreet. I'm going to talk about the key findings. First one is talking about the US air quality. The US air quality policy is really complicated as there are some potential problems based on the commands to be given to the stationary sources. Stationary sources are the polluting sources which have fixed place and do not move. Market-based approaches are opposite to the technology-based approaches. Market-based approaches is a kind of a method for determining the appraisal price as compared to the current selling prices in the market. And technology-based approaches, it is a method that government gives wants the firms to use a particular technology and they have to use it. Coming to the next point is the command and control based policies, and which are less cost effective in terms of air quality as compared to market based policies. EPA, which is Environmental Protection Agency, it sets up a national limit for SO2 emissions allowance, and the recipient can use it, and it can be used in the market for selling as well. Acid rain program has been very successful to reduce emissions at lower cost. US was successful in reducing NOx emissions in a cost-effective manner. Still, it can be more effective in terms to reduce NOx emissions. But it can be done by controlling energy prices and regulating efficient changes. It was difficult to measure what US accomplished in terms of doing a better job for air quality. But yeah, they can make changes to their existing policies to meet air quality objectives and economic prosperity. The last thing is about the marginal abatement cost. It can remain equal if an early emission training program takes place. That was all for the key findings, and thank you so much on behalf of Team 3. Thank you for your time, and I hope that you appreciate it. Thank you so much.